Today I'm just gonna quickly talk about something that gives me nightmares. Something that genuinely scares me and that I can realistically see coming in one form or another. This is one of those get the thoughts out of my head quickie videos I was talking about. So there's nothing to show you on screen, and I'm going to, as you can see, just put some gameplay on in the background for those of you who want something to look at as you listen. So, let's go. Why is it that I'm always hearing about how thousands of people insulting you is a terrible thing enabled by the internet, something that would be recognized for the horror it is if it happened in real life? But thousands of people complimenting you, following your every word and action is fine. You never hear of people leaving Twitter over that, do you? Yet if that actually happened outside of the internet, your life would be just as ruined as if what's called online harassment or cyber violence happened in the real world. Just imagine if every time you said something slightly witty while you're out and about, 100 people give you a little nudge and say, "Thumbs up! I liked that!" Or, "Hey, I just told my friends you said that." Tens of thousands of ears listening to you muttering to yourself would surely bring on madness. If the stuff everyone likes and wants to happen on social media happened in real life, it would be harassment. Your life would become hell. But I only hear the "if it happened in real life" point being used against insults and harsh criticism, things like that, topics people don't like. And while I admit there is something to the idea of nasty comments being a drag for some people, I think that if you're going to go down that path, you have to recognize that there's something on the other side of it as well. If allowing torrents of abuse to take over social media users' online experience risks letting people get worn down and depressed and upset, then allowing a flood of vapid positivity risks spoiling people. Surely, it's not normal to have 10,000 people telling you you suck, but it's not normal to have 10,000 sycophants sucking at your internet titty either, is it? If you're vulnerable to one, I'd bet you've got to be vulnerable to the opposite too. You're probably a sensitive person overall, unsuited to social media, not just because it's too rough, but because the way it works in general, overall, is toxic to you in particular. And, in fact, I personally think it's probably easier to brush off 1,000 insults than it is to brush off 10 compliments. It's harder to say to yourself, "No, I'm not that great," than it is to say, "No, I don't suck." Or maybe that's just my vanity speaking. Regardless, my fear is, with all these pushes for the internet to become a sterilized safe space for everyone, that we're going to see previously open platforms where people of all sorts bump into each other turn into segmented, segregated hotbeds for radicalization of all kinds you can imagine, where YouTube-style recommendation systems and the filtering featured on other social media combine to trap everyone in a bubble of agreement and positive reinforcement of their views. Nasty comments, as they often already are, will be secretly hidden from view, serving only to prevent infighting and increase cohesion within these newly formed communities. The web would become more comfortable than ever, but real-life tensions would soar as people become even more intolerant of opposing views, having become used to their silky smooth social media circle jerk eating up all their time, telling them they're great for thinking the way they do, and only ever introducing them to other people who think the way they do. And most people won't even really notice it's happening. Imagine it, an unseen digital caretaker developed to make sure you never come across that one argument that might change your mind, in order to spare you the mental exertion and possible upset. To save you from a group rejection for reconsidering your position too. Just another way to prevent nastiness on the web. We already do this to ourselves too often. Self-censoring to avoid having what we say set off some drama or bring personal consequences that we can't bear. What happens if we teach a machine to do the job for us? A bit sci-fi, sure, but I think it's worth considering that a safe web or more free speechy web aren't the only two possible outcomes. We could all end up surfing an unsafe web where we still don't have the ability to truly speak freely. and all without fully being aware of the restrictions or how the systems in place to limit us work, even. Wait, we've sorta got that already. Well, what I'm saying is, if people don't spend some serious time thinking about this before it's too late, it could get even worse. Probably. But, as usual, that's just another one of my harmful opinions.